Hey there people, long time no see. How have you been all this time? Good, I hope so. Me? Well, I've been busy doing this and that, some odd jobs and whatnot. But hey, I'm here now, back on track with new videos. And as it turns out, just in time for the spooky season. And would you know it, I'm full of spooky stories and videos. And one such video turns out to be this one. Now we all have our own fears, or at least things, places, or even people that make us feel somewhat strange. They bring that uneasy feeling, or even downright frighten us. Arachnophobia, claustrophobia, trypophobia, anything you can think of, there is a high chance that there is a phobia of it. It's kind of interesting when you think about it. It's estimated that at least 15 to 20% of the whole world population experienced a specific type of phobia at some point of time. To put that into perspective, that is roughly 6,783,000,000 people at any given time. A mind-blowing number, if you will. Another interesting fact about this is that the majority of people who experience any kind of phobia do not seek any kind of treatment for it. And only around 20% of those who do are able to overcome their phobia or completely recover. It's more common within those under the age of 18. I know, what a surprise. And it is more than likely to develop among the female demographic. Astonishingly, around 66% of those with phobia are females. Now, why is this relevant to today's story? Well, if you looked at the title, you would pretty much guess it already, right? Automatonophobia. Fear of automatons, wax figures, human-like robots and animatronics is not anything new. In fact, in recent years you could argue that it's quite in the spotlight in pop culture. Horror games like Five Nights at Freddy's and to a lesser extent Poppy Playtime took the internet by storm. I mean, largely due to popular YouTubers and streamers playing the game and showing it to a larger, relatively underage demographic on the internet. Movies like iRobot and to a greater extent Matrix trilogy drew new eyes to the genre even to this day. I mean, except the last Matrix movie. Well, we'll not talk about that one. Now, a relatively smaller subtype of automatonophobia, and the one that is more pertinent to today's video, is pediophobia. Fear of the dolls. Now, horror movie classics like Child's Play and its later iterations with their titular character Chucky, as well as classics like Puppet Masters with its recognizable cast of dolls, and even the recent movies based on urban legends like Annabelle. All of these movies make seemingly innocuous dolls into murder machines by the end of the movies. And there is something otherworldly, something quite unsettling with these childlike toys mixed with tense and horrific settings that makes them frankly scarier even than aliens or whatnot. The idea that your own dolls would somehow stand up as soon as you turn off the lights and jump on your bed is something that almost every kid had thought at one point in time. I know I sure as hell did. Now imagine how it would feel if you were surrounded with such dolls on an abandoned island. And I do literally mean surrounded. Everywhere you look there are dolls, hanging from trees, lying down on the floor. Even in the old shrine-looking thing in the middle of the island, dolls are used as decoration. And not your average new and unpacked dolls. Oh, no, 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 no. The old, decrepit looking ones, with eyes hanging out, hair falling out, torn clothes. Those kinds of dolls. Sounds like a fun and interesting place to visit? Well then, welcome to the Island of the Dolls, or Islas de las Muñecas in Spanish as the locals call it. Located just south of one of the largest metropolitan areas in the world, Mexico City, in the Xochimilco Canal. Hidden in this maze of canals and small islands, there's this one which is quite peculiar for its bizarre decoration, of course. All across this island there are these strange dolls, almost everywhere, placed there by the former owner Julian Santana Barrera. But for what reason? Well, the legend goes like this. Around 50 years ago, while on a boat, Julian saw a little girl playing in the water with her friends. Swimming, playing around, as kids usually do, you know. Unfortunately, laughter and playtime were soon replaced by fearful screams as one of the girls was swept away by the current. Julian noticed that the little girl was being dragged deeper and deeper, so he jumped out of his boat to try and save her. But unfortunately, he did not make it in time and the little girl drowned. Now, there are several different variations of the legend regarding the girl's death and some later parts, but we'll get to that in a bit. In one instance of the story, Julian saw the dead body of a girl just outside his door at the bottom of the waterway, while in some other variations of the story, the little girl drowned, entangled in the water lilies, and slowly drifted down the canal and eventually got on the bank of the Julian's island. Either way, it shook Julian to the core. It in fact shook him so much that he reportedly heard whispers of the deceased girl saying, "I want my doll." Now, faced with the overwhelming guilt and sense of dread, Julian had nothing else to do but to try and appease the spirit of the deceased girl. Now, according to Julian's great nephew, Rogelio Sanchez Santana, who acquired the ownership of the island after the death of Julian in 2001, the troubles were only beginning for our poor Julian. The spirit of the girl was living in sorrow, Santana said. In the mornings, Julian started seeing ghosts, and one day woke up and found all his crops had died. He tried many things to improve his crops, but he couldn't because the spirit damaged it. He became more and more scared. As you can imagine, the paranoia and the constant reminder of the tragedy that happened would drive any sane person to the brink of insanity. He even built a small shrine, or rather an altar, in his one-room cabin on the island in order to appease the spirit. But spirit appeared again and again. It was becoming more and more terrifying for Julian and his wife. So now, in order to protect himself and his small cabin, he started collecting dolls from all over the place and started putting them on his island wherever he could. Over the period of 50 years, Rogelio believes that his great uncle collected over 1,000 dolls and placed them on the island. And they're all still lying around and decaying slowly, dirty from dust and who knows what kind of rubbish, covered in cobweb, decaying and decrepit. Truly a macabre sight. Julian kept this place as it is all the way until 2001, when he died from a heart attack. Some even say that he died in the same spot where he found the little girl's deceased body, making this already bizarre story even more otherworldly. Rogelio even claims that it was in fact the little girl's spirit that dragged him into the water, that after all of these years of fighting back and trying to appease her, he couldn't hold her back anymore and decided to join her. Nowadays, Rogelio is in charge of the said island, but he and his family do not live there for the fear of the spirit and possible retaliation. Though the island is open for tourist attraction. In fact, it is so popular that several similar nearby doll islands have popped up. Right now it is a booming business, especially in this season. Those into the occult and macabre would find this island right up their alley. But not only them, even other casual tourists appreciate the legend and the story behind the doll island. Some even claim that dolls often shift and turn when no one is looking, and their eyes are following them from a distance. Some claim that they can hear a wild whispers around the island, presumably from the doll, while others claim that dolls are luring them while they're on a boat, making them some kind of mermaid-like creatures. But be that as it may, it is only scary as long as you believe in it, right? If you are beyond that, then this is only a partially interesting place to visit, am I right? And what better time to visit than now, in October? Luckily for you, if you are in the near vicinity of the island and have a few extra dollars to spare, Why not? On their website there is a lot of useful information, from departures, rates and other small details that might interest. On the other hand, if you're unable to do so for whatever reason, there is also an option of doing a virtual tour. Well, not exactly a virtual, but rather a video documentary which you can view for free on their site. Either way, I do recommend you visit that site and watch the video to get the full idea of how it actually looks like. But as for now, that's it from me. Now I'll hopefully see you next week, when I'll probably be talking about some kind of institution, maybe. Anyway, see ya and stay safe.